एक एक को बेस पसंद है कहता रहे मेरे रंग में काली काली आंखें
Hi everybody, you're listening to the Khandaan podcast by the You Podcast team, a bi-weekly podcast revisiting the movies of Aamir Khan, Salman Khan and Shah Rukh Khan.
Every show we pick a random year from 3 decades of collectively 300 films the Khans have done and let our listeners vote which movie we should talk about. So it's entirely up to you.
Pick a team, make a vote, take us down nostalgia lane, punish us, or make us reassess a movie we dismissed.
We love the Khans, most of us, sometimes. And we would love for you all to be part of our Khandaan, because when it comes to the Khans in Bollywood, nothing else really matters.
I've not seen SANDEEP Pinky Faraaar. You want to watch it now or you want to record? You want to go at it?
Yeah, just record.
Okay. Cool. जैसे लोग मूवी रिव्यू करते हैं हम ट्रेलर रिव्यू करेंगे.
What do you think? How is Diwakar Banerjee movie going to be in your head?
We're going to review this how, royal correspondents reviewed the Meghan Markle interview.
Without watching it.
Yeah. Oh, great. Hi and welcome to Khandaan Podcast. We are back, episode 97, I think. Right?
97,562.
97 and then 98. So that means 99 and 100 are coming up, guys. Like, this is a big moment, right? We need to announce the event officially now, right? We've been talking about it on Twitter. Not all of our audience is on Twitter. So
we also posted our test live stream screenshot on our Instagram, and we got lots of likes and engagement through it, and people are looking forward to that. So for those who don't know, we are organizing, we're trying to do our first YouTube live Q&A or whatever AMA stream on YouTube, as you guys voted for it for our episode 100 celebrations.
Yeah, I mean, basically it's like come hang out with us on YouTube. That's how I see it, right? Like we'll do it. We'll record for like 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, and then we might split that up and make that episode 99 and 100. But it's we're gonna have some guests on. I was even thinking if people come in quick, like we have watchers that are there when we start, we might even invite some questions from the audience or send them the link to join. I mean, there's lots of ideas that are kind of percolating, but typically Khandaan, we haven't planned too much, and we
I mean, there's no point in planning. No. Asim, I'll again remind you what happened the last time you planned a lot and we ended up winning.
Yeah. I plan. You guys don't plan. Let's say that. I try to plan.
So for the details, it's streaming on, we will be live streaming on the Sunday, 28th of March. It's happening at 8:30 p.m. IST, 4 p.m. UK and 11 a.m. EST. That's YouTube live with Khandaan on the YouTube channel of Khandaan podcast.
Yeah, and it's free. You just have to show up. We're not charging anybody anything. Amrita, are you planning to do something special for the Khandaan live event?
I'm planning to show up for it. Isn't that special?
मैं नहा के आऊँगा.
नहाना भी है. Do we have to wash it? Okay, then we should charge for the event maybe. Yeah. But it's fun. We're looking forward to it. The 28th, which is a Sunday. If you go to our social, all of the information should be there. I think I'll also post it in the show notes of this episode. We're really looking forward to it. Don't, like people say, don't let this flop. And if it's a success, we can do more of these. We're looking forward to it. Great. Let's get into the show a little bit. There's been a lot of trailers that dropped, and we want to talk about a few of them. So, फिर क्या बोलें? What do we talk about?
I mean, there's SANDEEP and Pinky Faraaar.
You watched the SANDEEP and Pinky Faraaar one. So tell me what's because wasn't there a teaser like ages ago? And this is a full trailer.
Yeah, this is the whole trailer.
it wasn't a teaser. No, it's not even a trailer. We are all so out of it this particular episode and what's happening. It was a teaser that came out like, I don't know, like 3 days before the song dropped. That is what we're talking about, like long, long ago. It wasn't that long ago. It was just like a few days before.
What? Are you talking about the Mamu song or Sandeep or Pinky?
Oh, I was talking about the Mamu song. I mean, not really the Mamu song.
We are totally not in sync this episode. But yeah, the Sandeep or Pinky Faraaar teaser trailer came out like ages ago, which was pretty much just like a text PowerPoint presentation with none of the cast revealed, if you remember.
That came out 1 year ago, I think.
Yeah, it was just like the next Dibakar Banerjee movie, YRF Productions and stuff like that. And then they dropped the trailer this week out of nowhere. And I always thought it was going to be released on Netflix for some reason, but this is going to be released in cinemas in India, so obviously we won't be able to watch it. And did you watch it, Amrita, the trailer?
Yeah, I did. I didn't know it had come out until you mentioned it, Sujoy. Like, literally nobody has been talking about it. Like, you mentioned it and I was like, what? There is a trailer? And then I watched it, and I mean, it's
a trailer.
Like, it's like I can like this is the tragedy, right? Like, so it stars Arjun Kapoor and Parineeti Chopra, and it's sort of like a rehash of their debut film, like in a way, because it's the two of them with like a cast of like really great characters. But the thing is, like, I can already tell that the cast of, like, the supporting cast is going to act them clear out of the water, you know?
Absolutely, yeah. It's got Jaideep Ahlawat and Neena Gupta.
Yeah.
And
Jaideep Ahlawat, like, he's in, like, 2 or 3 scenes and he just kills in each and every scene, you know? Like, there's a scene, Asim, in which, like, they've, like, shot up this car full of people and Jaideep Ahlawat shows up and he's like, oh no, like, you know, kis ko marte ho tum log? Like, you know, like, what do we do? And then he says, ab banao inko Pakistani. And he goes off.
Man, it's so crazy. Like, you're just telling me that dialogue and I'm like, oh my God, they're going to get in so much trouble just for one nothing goes anymore, right? You cannot make any, comment about anything anymore. It's, I was actually watching the trailer because I was really confused. Like, I don't know if you saw like an announcement was made today about Suryavanshi 2, and they also had like a whole open letter, like, we came a year ago and then you had to wait and then everything stopped and now the cops are back. You're like, so maybe this needed this kind of intro too, but I don't know. This is, more than an Ishaq Sadeh feel, this has like an Aurangzeb feel to me. Like, Yash Raj just wants to dump this movie and get it over with, and that's.
But I really hope it does well, though, for both Arjun and Parineeti, because they have been in the dump for so long. But my problem with the trailer so far is that I won't be able to understand what Arjun is saying in the movie. I literally understood 0 lines out of him.
Yeah, same. I'm so glad I'm not the only one. And I'm like a native Hindi speaker. And I'm like, what is he saying?
Is he because he's mumbling or an accent? Why? What is it exactly that you don't understand?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, he's doing an accent, but like he's doing it like you can't understand. Like, Jaideep Ahlawat is also doing an accent, but you can understand what he's saying, you know, like he's actually enunciating. Whereas this one is just like, I don't know what he's saying. Like, I can tell that he's supposed to be giving like, you know, like, I don't know, like he's making like quippy dialogues and banter, because that's how the scene is cut. But I have no idea what he said.
Yeah, so I hope it gets, some sort of modified and presentable in the edit. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not looking good for these two, huh? It's it's a shame.
But I've never been like fully disappointed with any Dibakar Banerjee yet, so I'm still keeping my fingers crossed about this.
I gotta say something because I've been railing against Dibakar Banerjee so long, but after Tolly Folly you guys did, I actually over the break, Christmas or something, I rewatched Byomkesh, Detective Byomkesh Bakshi, and I kind of love it now.
Yeah.
It's really good. I was wrong. I was totally wrong. It's really good. And I totally still understand why it flopped. And I think that might be the thing with Dibakar Banerjee movies. Like, they're good, and I totally get why nobody wants to watch them. And how I'm because I root for both of these guys. Like, I sat through Girl on a Train, right? I've watched Tevar. I've sat through movies for these guys because I like them, and I'm gonna probably sit through this one too. And I just hope I have a lot of fun, but I really, really worry about their career, it's not going well. And I think, the Ishaqzade rural kind of energy, it's definitely kind of coming through. I don't know, do you feel like Dibakar Banerjee just wants to get rid of this Yashraj deal and just wants to get done and over with? It's not really worked out for him.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't seem like a studio guy, he seems like more of like a Anurag Kashyap kind of guy, and I don't know, he's gotten this big budgets, this big platform, this big release, but he clearly has needed to do compromises, and I do not he does not look happy in the last few interviews you've done,
But also I don't know what he's going to do next, because the kind of movies that he makes, it's going to piss off a lot of people, even if it wasn't
exactly.
the touchy government that we have right now. At the best of times, he's going to piss people off. And in the current climate, he can probably make a movie because he does it very quietly and on the down low and stuff. But when it comes for the time for the censor certificate and for the release, I don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah. And also maybe I think if people are listening that are in the know in the industry, figure out a way that we can watch these movies, because we don't have theaters, and I'm kind of I'm kind of missing watching these movies. Can we not get a screener? Can somebody send us a screener or something like that? That would be cool.
I saw this picture that our friend Get Filmy posted of Anupama Chopra in one of the press screenings where she sat in an empty cinema hall, and every second alternate seat is barred from people sitting down, and she's all alone in there with the mask on. It kind of looks very dystopian.
Mm-hmm.
But also, did you guys see that news item about how Amazon is not going to air Family Man second season or Patal Lok second season?
I also saw a reply from Rajan DK saying it was bullshit. It was just a bullshit news item.
I hope so.
Yeah, they said it was bullshit. So I think that's their actual words. This is real bullshit.
Yeah.
I did, but it is that if it happened, it wouldn't surprise me. That's the worrying thing, right? That the news was dropped that even Patal Lok might be affected, and the state of India is that that makes sense. Exactly the conversation we were having about Karan Johar and Takht a couple of episodes ago, right?
Yeah.
It just, I don't know if what entertainment the political climate in India wants at the moment, but it just seems to be sports movies, mythological movies, and
cop movies.
That's what you can get.
Talking about sports movies, I know we said we wouldn't really talk about it, but I just want to give a shout out to Parineeti Chopra's Saina Nehwal biopic, because as Get Filmy or Shakila, who has been on this podcast before, pointed out, the entire performance is around the mole on her face, and ever since then, every time I see anything related to that movie, I just think to myself, moly, moly, moly.
And not to Austin Powers. I mean, speaking of another sports movie, the trailer that dropped was the Toofan trailer with directed by Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra and starring Farhan Akhtar after a very, very long time.
अपना तो काम ही खौफ का है। आंख में देखो, सामने वाला मुंह देना चाहिए।
डूबता दिल फिर भी ये ढूंढे कोई मंजिल।
बड़ा बॉडी होती है ना, वो एकदम करीब है अपने।
क्या करेगा बॉक्सिंग सीख के? लोगों को मारेगा।
Did you guys watch the trailer?
I haven't seen it. No, I haven't seen it. Did you like it?
I did like it. I went in expecting that it would be meh, but I am quite excited to watch this whenever it releases. Did you watch it, Asim?
I did. I watched it like 5 times.
ये मेरे जिम का inspiration होगा अगला after Sultan.
Yeah, no, yeah, you know, I mean, these are the things I like, you know, like I like dudes getting buffed. I mean, I would love seeing women get buffed too. It doesn't happen as much, unfortunately. But I like that, and I also like boxing movies. It's always something that I've loved. You know, it's like one of those genres that I really love. Although it's so template, you know exactly what's gonna happen, but there's gonna be a montage, right? He's gonna get beat up really bad, and his ego is gonna take the hold of him. You know, that kind of thing, and at the end he will win. You know, so you know all of these steps that are gonna happen, but it's just one of those, like a western or something like that. I just kind of enjoy the genre. Guest can come on now. Let me just add her to the call. Great. And we have our guest on, our guest Yamini, who tweets at, what's your Twitter handle? Papu Charu, is that it?
It's Papu Charu.
Yamini, the problem with your Twitter sometimes is you seem to change your DP a lot, right? Don't you?
Yeah, I do.
And I then get confused who's talking to me at the moment. I'm a very old man on Twitter who shouldn't be there anymore.
So I didn't change it for a long time, but like it also helps. Like every time like I piss off a section of the Telugu like fans, I change it because then they get confused.
That's excellent strategy though.
So, Yamini, we wanted to get you on because you're kind of like a recent Twitter friend of ours. We all enjoy interacting with you and reading your hot takes. But we also figure out that you're kind of an industry insider, right? We can't talk too much about it, but like... halke, like, you know, we can like skirt around certain things, right? That's why we wanted to get you on.
Yeah, an industry insider of sorts. I'm at that place where like I know just about enough to consider myself an industry insider, but not enough for the industry insiders to consider me an industry insider, you know.
You're like the ending of Wake Up Sid. That's where you are in terms.
Literally.
Jesus.
I'm just obsessed with Wake Up Sid because our former guest and friend Pulkit made an awesome kind of sketch on it, and it's been just like living in my head rent free. Like I've been just like thinking about it the whole time. But yeah, Yamini, we were talking about the Toofan trailer, and I was just telling how, you know, I'm obsessed with boxing movies and body transformations. But what did you think of Toofan trailer? Did you get a chance to watch it?
Yes, I did.
What did you think?
I have nothing like bad to say about it, but it just feels so much like Rakesh Om Prakash Mehra took like Rocky and Raging Bull and just like smashed them together. But there is like that bit where Farhan Akhtar talks in an accent that I can't quite place where this accent is from.
Yeah, so you're hitting exactly the point I was about to hit, because we were last episode we were talking about the Gangubai trailer. And accents and the authenticity of accents, and we just did Sandeep and Pinky Farraar like 5 minutes ago. That seems to be the issue not the issue, but it seems to be a red flag in terms of acting, right? Like how authentic is the accent? Like we're all like a bit obsessed with it, right? Even like Priyanka Chopra.
I think my issue is with accents. It needs to be A, honest to the movie, B, it needs to be intelligible. Like I need to understand what the hell these actors are speaking, right? Same with what Rajkumar Rao did in the Ruhi trailer. I have not watched the movie because I don't know where it's available, but he does that speech impediment. I don't know what he's saying, and that's the same thing, the same issue that I have with Arjun Kapoor in Sandeep and Pinky and Farhan Akhtar in Toofan.
Like, I mean, it's again like that whole, like, sophisticated person kind of like looking, into like the inner depths of the city and thinking that they can be from this area when they're really not.
Yeah. It's basically, it's a Rocky movie sprinkled with Gully Boy. Like a little bit of Gully. Like, she didn't cast me, I'm just going to do the same thing again. So I'm like, Ajju Bhaiya,
I feel like that's actually like Farhan's, MO. His films. He's like, West mein aisa hai, now we'll repackage it and introduce it to India, where most people don't know what this is. And then they will be like, wow. And then it actually works for like 5 minutes before people like be like, wait, but I have heard, like it really doesn't work for as long as I think you would like it to work in the age of social media.
It's funny how you guys mentioned like Gully Boy though, because in Gully Boy the same, they did the accent, they did the whole Mumbaiya slang, Tapori and all of that, and Ranveer and Alia just, flew.
Yeah, when you were saying something?
I was just wondering, have we never had a boxing movie in the Hindi industry?
Of course we have.
We have,
right?
Since Mithun.
Oh, I mean like in the last 20 years.
I mean, we had Mary Com.
Oh,
and
yes.
Mukkabaz.
And Mukkabaz. Sorry,
yes,
I forgot Mukkabaz.
And the best one, Aryan the Unbreakable.
Asim being totally on brand.
And Apne being Pitu on brand.
And also Warriors, right? Like that.
Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
That was MMA, but true. Yeah, there's been a few boxing movies, but beside Aryan, none of them have been really good. Mukkabaz I've not seen. It's probably good, but it's like...
Oh, I enjoyed Mukkabaz.
Yeah, but it's like Garibon wali boxing, right? It's not like real boxing, right?
Jesus. Asim is always like in every episode going to drop a bomb that will piss off like 1/3 of the population.
Oh, good. So, Amrita, having heard about Toofan, do you think it's going to be your kind of movie?
Probably not, but I'll probably watch it anyway because it's got like Farhan and Rakesh Omprakash Mehra directing it, and generally I'll watch their movies, so probably.
I just hope it's not like a 3.5 hour long movie like Bhag Milta Bhag.
If it's 3.5 hours, count me out, but if it's something reasonable, then I'll watch it.
By the way, it also has I don't know how to pronounce her name. Mrunal Thakur? Is that how you do it?
Yeah.
She's got like a really good screen presence, no? Like I've not seen her in much yet, but like in the trailer, she really sparkles. I hope, this is going to lead to like bigger and better things. And she definitely has like a good, like slate of movies coming in. She's like in Jersey, which is like a Shahid Kapoor movie. She's in a Dhamaka, which I know, Yamini, we want to talk to you about next. And then she's also in Bahubali, Before the Beginning, which I don't even know what that exactly is. But is that happening?
The beginning.
So that is like the... there's the book, The Rise of Sivagami, right? Which they wrote after. So it was kind of like about that. But I think that's been stalled. As far as I know, that's kind of been stalled.
Oh.
Yeah.
And was that an animated movie or was that like
No, it was like a live action thing only. So it's basically like about when Shivagami was young and how she rose to the ranks of being like queen. I haven't read the book, but this is what it was about. So it was like kind of like from her childhood to her adulthood. But as far as I know, that project is kind of been shelved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm seeing it on IMDb. So, but she looks good in the trailer. I just wanted to mention it because we hadn't really talked about her yet. But it's going to be on Prime. So if we're still stuck at home, we'll probably end up watching it, right? Yamini, you watched the Dhamaka trailer, right?
Oh yes.
You had some thoughts.
I mean, so one, it was like Karthik Aaryan trying to play like edgy. I don't want to say Arnab Goswami, but like, you know.
Nobody was thinking that, Yamini.
But it was, I mean, it was giving me like early, not too early Arnab vibes, but like, you know, before he completely sold himself to the BJP. But it's just, I cannot. I mean, because, see, something about Kartik Aaryan and monologues makes me want to run in the opposite direction.
Same.
Like, I see it and I'm like, no, I can't. So that was what it was. But it has Amrita Subhash in it, which is kind of why I want to watch it.
Yeah, is this supposed to be like a sort of an Indian network kind of thing? Like,
No, it's a remake of a Korean movie. I can't exactly remember the name of the movie. Let me check.
I'll read the plot synopsis. Reassigned from TV to radio, a frustrated anchor sees both danger and opportunity when he receives threatening calls on the air. That's what it's supposed to be.
So it's an official remake of a 2014 South Korean movie called The Terror Live.
Okay.
And what is interesting me to like what's caught my attention is that it's directed by Ram Madhwani, who made Nirja last with Sonam Kapoor, and if he can pull out a performance from Sonam Kapoor, then I am hopeful for Kartik Aaryan.
Yeah, that also was one of the reasons.
They kind of have a similar vibe, no? Kartik Aaryan and like Sonam Kapoor. Now that you put those two together, they should really star in a movie about like, you know, like being rich and stuff like that. What we're hoping to, it's probably that it is kind of a network kind of thing where it's talking about the role media is playing in today's society and, you know, how toxic it's become. But I fear this is just going to be a setting where a thriller is set in. So all of that is going to get nixed, except being, you know, superficial about, ratings, TRP ke liye, you know, that kind of thing. But on the other hand, it's just going to be, you know, Kartik Aaryan doing monologues because he's getting, you know, calls on his earpiece. So I don't know what to make from this teaser. And like the people involved don't necessarily excite me to watch this movie. I don't know. Amrita, did you watch the teaser?
Yeah. And I think everyone said pretty much, this teaser deserves, to be honest.
Moving on.
Moving on. Let's do, what are we, do we want to do this?
Enjoy Enjaami.
Yeah, that's the one we want to talk about, right? Amrita, you start. What you felt, you know, like we needed to know this song?
Yeah, so I love Dhee, right? Like she and Arivu, who's like the lyricist and who's also in the song. For those of you who don't know, like it's a Tamil song and it's actually the first in this platform that I believe A.R. Rahman is one of the people who's behind its conception, and it's called Maja, I think. And this is the first single released by it, and it's a sort of South Asian, primarily like South Indian. I think that's how they're starting, but I think eventually they want it to be like a South Asian musical artist platform, you know, to like promote and like give them support and stuff like that. And it's fantastic. It's all anybody can talk about on YouTube, for instance. And I've been obsessed with the song. Like, it's been on a loop for days on end. Like, that's all I've been listening to. And it's political and it's beautiful and it's really catchy. And I know Yamini has a lot of thoughts about it as well.
Yeah. So I like the first thing, like when I watched this video, and like more than the video, like it's actually been listening to the song, but I feel like Arivu is finally like just having a blast, because in all of his other songs, his mouth is just going like a mile a minute because he's like rapping so fast. But here, like, you know, you can see him like enjoying, he's having a ball. And more than anything, I think he was able to completely express what he wanted to with this song, which was, you know, about like our foremothers and how they would toil on the fields. And it's a very, because like, so Arivu, like the band that he's a part of, it's the Casteless Collective. Mm-hmm. And a lot of, like, not a lot of, all of their songs are about like caste, like, kind of, I'm not getting the resistance. It's about like resistance against like the oppressive regime. And I mean, if you haven't heard of the Casteless Collective, I highly recommend you do, because one of the rappers, Isai Vani, she was on the BBC Top 100 Women of the Year 2020. So, like, a lot of their work is about that. It's about, like resistance against oppressive regime and like, again, gender discrimination and all. And I think, but this song was just like I think the lyrics only are just so like, unfortunately, I don't understand Tamil well enough to be able to completely comprehend it, but it's just such a good song. It's such a good song. Like, that's all I can say.
So this is actually like one of the more like the personalist political kind of songs, because it's actually based on the story of Arivu's own grandparents, who were land laborers, like Tamilian land laborers who were sent by the British to Sri Lanka to clear forests, and then were eventually sent back to India after independence and stuff. And it's basically the story of the people who, like Yamini said, toil in the fields, but aren't granted the grace of the yield. So, they continue to be like landless laborers, but they work harder and they're more in tune with the land than the people who own it. So it's like a radical environmental message, but also it's about labor rights, and it's about caste, and it's about centuries of oppression and injustice, and it's about love and family, and it's about so many different things. And one of the great things about this particular video, and because it's backed by like serious money, one of the great things is that they actually have things like subtitles and stuff. So you won't get the full feel of like what the song is about. If you understand Tamil, then obviously you will understand a whole other layer, because a lot of it is, it's metaphor. But you can still understand, like, the lyrics and everything. And I pushed it on both you and Sujoy, right? Like, yeah. I made you both watch it.
So I didn't get the historical context until you mentioned it just now about how it is about, what happened with the colonialism and stuff. What I first got was the context of the current farmer protest so it kind of relates to that context as well, because I'm just reading at the lyrics and translated to English. There is a paragraph which says, "I planted 5 trees, nurtured a beautiful garden. My garden is flourishing, yet my throat remains dry." It's amazing. So powerful.
No, I was blown away by this, honestly. Like, I've been like, I love hip hop. I've said this many, many times. I had a lot of problems with Gully Boy, especially when it came to the hip hop of it. Here, I was just blown away because they really seem to own the musical form for them. It doesn't feel foreign, and it doesn't seem fake. And it doesn't feel put on. And clearly, like, I didn't get the historical context as much. For me, there was definitely that mix of joy and anger and rebellion, which is hip hop. Those are the key essences of hip hop, and it's not necessarily about posturing. And this was like the least posturing hip hop Indian song I've seen in a while. And the clip itself, the video clip, we haven't really talked about that. It definitely has like influences of, imagery that I've seen in Beyonce's clips or in even MIA, Maya. Remember? Like, a lot of that has it. But they make it their own. And like, I was kind of like, the first time I was watching it, I was like kind of working out, and like, I just put it on in the background and actually stopped. And the same thing happened to me with my wife. She was like on her phone and stuff like that. I just put it on in the background, and she just stopped what she was doing, and she was like, "This is such a beautiful clip." And so even not understanding the language, not understanding the context, the voice that Dhee has, and the kind of visuals that this clip brings, it just kind of pulls you in. It's amazing. That the kind of really stood out to me.
And it really, like we've spoken before about the role that like the language plays in centering narratives and in giving people a platform. And honestly, like Arivu is like such a major talent, and it kills me that he is mostly unknown outside of the Tamil nation and the Tamil diaspora, or like people who understand Tamil culture, because he, like, like every time he talks about his art, and he talks about hip hop, he has like what you said, Asim, he really understands the art form, and he talks about like Tamil is like such a great language for hip hop. Because the music is like really in tune, and two, because the language itself, like the sound of that language is like really, it really befits hip hop in a way. There's a musicality to the language that really works with the form of hip hop, and he is able to understand that. And what kills me about like Rahman, for example, is that Rahman also understands that, but Rahman historically does not understand the value of lyrics whatsoever. Like he literally, like I don't think he ever understood that lyrics were important until he met like Gulzar, I feel. So for like years and years and years, like if you had like good Rahman lyrics in Tamil, it was because the director and the director basically must have done something, because the moment it came to like translated to Hindi and stuff, it was just like nonsense. And with like with his hip hop, like he really liked Blase, for example. Who like like, no shade to the hustle, but like he is literally one of the worst rappers I've ever heard in my life.
The moment you mentioned Blase, I just get flashbacks of DATING, you and me were meant to be.
But like even if Blase could like, had a gear in which he could deliver better stuff, like Rahman was like, no, I want this particular sound. You please just, write something to that sound.
Yeah.
So, it's just horrendous. And then you see someone like Arivu, and he not only nails the sound, but he is able to, the things that he accomplishes with this song and with like the other songs that he's written for the Costas Collective, as Yamini was saying, it's like, it's amazing. Like he has such a fine sense of politics and of musicality. It's fabulous. And yeah, people should really listen to this song because it's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's really good. And even like if you're not into hip hop, just put the sound down and watch the clip. Like it's amazing. And also, we talked about the rapper, but we didn't talk about Dhee, I feel, enough. Like her voice, man. Like wow. Like because I don't know her at all. We spoke about Rowdy Baby and now this, and it's an amazing voice. She has like a little bit of that, like, that vibrato kind of thing that a lot of singers have lately. It's like kind of a remnant of Amy Winehouse, I feel, but it's quite a striking voice she has. I don't know, are there any other songs that I should check out of hers, Amrita, or is she just starting out?
Yes. No, I'll send you a list, or there's a playlist on YouTube that I can send it to you. But she's fabulous. Like, do you remember, like somebody like reminded me, I think it was Entha Hotness on Twitter reminded me of this song from, do you remember that boxing movie with Madhavan?
Yeah, Sala Kadus.
Yeah, so the Tamil version of that, she sang the title track for that, and it is beautiful. And I'll send the playlist for you, and you can include that in the show notes as well, because more people should listen to Dhee.
Yeah, for sure.
I think she sang 2 songs in that movie. Yeah.
Nice. No, I'll it's definitely like put her on the map for me at least. So I'll definitely go check her out. Look, one question though, like because there's this South-North divide, right? Like in India too, like I feel a lot of South acts cannot cross over to national audience unless they go into Hindi. Do you think that's what needs to happen for like Dhee's career or the rapper? Sorry, I missed the name. Like, what is the path for them? Do you guys think? Like, or their industry is big enough to sustain them? What do you think?
I think that's what Maja is trying to accomplish. That like they can. That they don't need to cross over, that they can just make their own music and then make it big. Because the people who, like, I'm watching, like, listen to the song on YouTube, it's not just Tamilians. It's, so there's like a good mix of Tamilians and Malayalis who are listening to the song, which is expected. But there's also like North Indians, and there are like non-Indians who are like listening. All the reaction channels, the white people reaction channels have done reactions to this song because everyone's been asking them to do that. So it's I feel like if Maja accomplishes even like half of what it wants to do, or if they say that they want to do in the mission statement, then it could be like, this could be like a real revival act for the indie pop scene. And it wouldn't be like, like in the 90s it was all like shadi songs, but I feel like here is an opportunity for like musicians to make like proper music and whatever they want, instead of just making like barjatiya tunes basically.
What I hate though is what you mentioned. If I search Arivu in YouTube, the algorithm pushes Enjoy Enjaami on the second, and the first one is the our stupid reactions to Enjoy Enjaami.
I watch one of those videos. It's so bad. Those guys, like, I don't know how they get these kind of views. But anyway, Yamini, I wanted to ask you, like, because you worked in these industries, how does like Bollywood see these actors? Like, how do they kind of like, do they see it like as a pool of talent that they want to tap into, or is it just like a cash grab that they just kind of want to co-opt?
So I think it really depends on the directors who you do work with, because like when I was working in Bombay, like again I was doing ads. I think it really does depend on like directors, because even in because at this point the Telugu and Tamil industry, like you have like the actors from both like working within each other's, and it's hilarious because like there is this Telugu film that gets remade in Tamil, and then the Tamil versions get dubbed back into Telugu, which I will never understand. But that is happening right now. So I think at this point it's kind of a mix of both, because this happening is just kind of like a cash grab, right? Because like, hey, in the Telugu one, if like say Taapsee works or something, and a Tamil version like Tamanna works, okay, if we dub it back into Telugu, like Tamanna fans will watch, no? So that is happening. But yeah, I think like with Bollywood, I still do feel like for the South industry, Bollywood is still like this distant thing. But I feel like because of the OTT platforms, it's kind of like, within each other, it's kind of like, everything's getting mixed up at this point. Because even like Samantha, who said she was never going to work in like Bollywood, is on the second part of Family Man, right? So, but I don't know what's happening with that right now because of the whole like, what do you call, censoring thing issue.
Yeah, that we just spoke about that. That news spread like wildfire because it was so believable, but it's the filmmakers have said it's not true. So yeah.
I didn't know Samantha was going to be in the second part of Family Man. Like, that's really interesting.
Yeah, she was there in the trailer. No, like at the last shot is her only.
I didn't see the trailer. I should see that. Yeah, I should see that.
Shall we move on to the next song that dropped this week, which was Har Pan Maula?
So this is not his film, right? Like he's doing a special appearance, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's got Kunal Kapoor and who's the actress? I can't remember.
I think it's called Koi Jaane Na, the movie, right? That's what the movie is from. The song is from,
which also means nobody knows.
It feels like a favor to Kunal Kapoor, honestly. Like, I feel that's why he decided to do it, and he was also like, yeah, why not? I'll get to dance with a beautiful woman, might as well.
Their right minds. It's like, yeah, we need like a special appearance for an item song. Aamir ko phone karte hain. Like, what?
So I'll tell you one trivia that I found out, that the director of Koi Jane Na is Amin Haji, who, if you remember, played Bagha in Lagaan.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, the mute guy who plays the drums.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. What a change in like careers, I have to say. Didn't expect that at all.
But he his history of his filmography on IMDb is quite questionable. He co-wrote Swades with Ashutosh, but he also wrote 1920 Haunted 3D Dangerous Ishq. So make of that what you will, you know.
So Sujoy, man, what did you think of the song though?
I mean, I saw the teaser of that song when, again, one of our content providers, Shakila's Twitter, and she basically said, "Mamu being sexy," and I said,
Shakila's fully filmy, right?
Yeah, filmy. And I said, "Mamu being sexy, but izzat se." That's what I thought. It kind of brought me back to days of Mann with Kali Nagin and Aisa Zakham Diya Hai and all of those tracks. But I don't know. I don't know what to think of it. It's Mamu dancing, I mean.
Amrita, let loose.
First of all, what is he wearing in this song? Like, like what is that? Like, you know, Ellie Avram is like all dolled up. It's supposed to be like, okay. And first of all, so it's a nightclub scene and he's sitting at the bar, and behind the bar, right behind him, is a giant neon sign that says ego.
Amrita, you forgot the essential detail. He's smoking a pipe in a bar. That's with a sign ego behind him. That's it.
All he needed was a fedora also. Maybe like Gandalf's like stick also, just for like, you know, full effect. But he's wearing like, I don't know, like a shirt that's like coming up to his knees.
It's not true, but yeah, that's funny. It's a perfectly well-tailored shirt, but sure, I want to see what it goes on in Amrita's mind.
No, it's like his pants are like, you know, I've already talked about how he belts his pants somewhere like, you know, like south of his throat. But now he's like wearing these shirts that go down to his knees, and then he's wearing like this. It looks like the shirt hasn't been like washed or ironed in like 3 days, and I'm like, why is he supposed to be a hobo? Like, is that what it is? Like a hobo with a pipe? And then he's dancing, and he's like, yeah, it's very Kalin Naginsi, which is like, you know, it's like very classic Mamu wale dance moves. And then, yeah, it's just, yeah, it's a mess, man. This whole song is a mess.
Yamini, what did you think?
So, initially, I wasn't planning on watching this song, and Asim was like, hey, Amrita is very excited to do this. So I watched it, and I was a little bit traumatized. I'm not gonna lie. Little bit. But then, like, obviously YouTube is the gift that keeps on giving. So I went down to the comment section, and the number of people who are like, "Ye baat Aamir like Mamu class ke saath वापस आ गया." Like, what a like perfectionist Aamir doing an item song also perfectly, and I'm like, what are these people smoking? Can I have that, please? I also want to be able to like see this song with their eyes.
This also solves the mystery to where do Aamir fans live? They live in YouTube comment section, not on Twitter.
Yes. Like literally the comments are all in praise of like how, oh man, like Aamir's like steps are so smooth, like this is what a perfect gentleman is like. And I'm like, what? was just reading the comments and I'm like, okay, this makes up for like having to have watched that song.
Do you guys sense I'm being suspiciously quiet here?
Because you like it, is it?
I like the song.
Hey, by the way, it's his birthday today. It's Mamu's birthday today.
Oh, see, we have to be a bit nicer to him. No, we don't.
No, we don't.
I like the song. I gotta say, I mean, one thing I have to say, like Nora Fatehi, we spoke about her a lot, right? Like she is such at the peak of her career that every other dancer girl is not Nora, right? Doesn't it feel that way? Like this is with Eddie Avram, right?
Yeah.
And like the only thing I could think about, this is not Nora, but I think also they have to have Eddie Avram because with Nora there would be such a blatant height difference that it would just not work in a club, right?
It's
And
like
also-
that. It's like that song in Dhoom where like he just sits while Katrina's dancing because he can't stand.
Yeah. Or you know, like in Kick, you have that song with Nargis Fakhri and Salman Khan, and Nargis is always standing like 7 rocks behind Salman to make it like look in perspective. So keeping in the Gandalf of things, you know, you use forced perspective to make people like. But I gotta say, like about Aamir's classic dance moves, because this had a lot of like. I felt slightly violated by how many hip thrusts there are. My eyes, they kind of hurt afterwards. It wasn't feeling very well. Also because I wear contact lenses when I watch things, and I was like, I think I need more lubrication here. Like, I need like more eye drops here. Yeah, but I like the song. I mean, our friend Harun was saying, how does Aamir not look 56 or something? And that I have to say, he does look 56 in a club. He does look that age. He should not be in a club. Like I should not be in a club. There's certain things we should not do anymore, and being in a club is one of those things, Aamir. But I do like the song. I like the beat of it. Yeah, let's move on. I don't know if were there any other trailers you want to talk about, or are we done here? Yeah, I mean, you had one more, no?
Yes.
OK Computer.
Did you guys say OK Computer?
भविष्य में आपका स्वागत है।
हेलो मैम, यहाँ पे एक एक्सीडेंट हो गया। एक सेल्फ ड्राइविंग कार ने एक आदमी को मार डाला है।
हेलो सर, एक्सीडेंट पे आपका स्वागत है।
विक्टिम कौन है?
I briefly watched it and I couldn't make any sense of it.
Okay, so like OK Computer, they said it was like, you know, the first sci-fi comedy in India, which literally makes me wonder what Action Replay was then. But yeah, but I was talking to my friend about it and he was like, bro, doesn't this look like 90s Doordarshan level graphics?
Yeah.
He's like, you know, there was this show like in 2002, like Mukesh Khanna's Aryaman, which was like one ripoff of Star Wars. He was like, it looks like that. If we're going back further, like Karan, like, you know, when Karan Johar was a baby, Indradhanush was there.
Yeah. Yeah, also Ketan Mehta's Captain Vyom or something with Milind Soman.
Yeah.
All of those in one show.
Yeah. I mean, like, I get the premise, but then, like, some bits of it just, like, were weird because I feel like some people are, like, forcibly trying to do comedy, which doesn't really seem to be their forte. And then, like, Jackie Shroff turns up, which was one more exciting thing.
Yeah. So it's got Radhika Apte, Vijay Verma, and Jackie Shroff, and I just
Radhika
watched the
Dubey
trailer
is
without
also
any
there.
sound, trying to make sense of what the visuals meant, and I shouldn't have done that. But you're right; it's all very Doordarshan level graphics.
Like, I don't want to hate on it because, see, it's like made by the same team that made like Ship of Theseus and Tumbad. Like, Ship of Theseus, I watched it at a time where I feel like, okay, I didn't understand, this is like too intense for me. But Tumbad I actually really liked.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, okay, this is something different. At least like some experimentation is trying to go on. But it's just the graphics like really threw me off.
So my problem is like with, OTT and all international shows being available on our TV, there is a direct comparison with whatever gets made in Hollywood or, the shows that come out of Netflix and Prime. So this kind of reminds me of a show that came out last year, which was called Upload. And then there was a 2018 movie also similar to this, which was called Upgrade. And obviously there are going to be some sort of shared elements with Black Mirror as well. I don't know if it's going to be able to live up to any of those, but here's hoping, because I would like to see what Jackie Shroff brings to the table to this,
Yeah, same.
Pidu.
I like that Jackie Shroff is up for anything. Like he'll just kuch bhi kar lega. Like just bring him in and he'll do it. He doesn't care. I think I kind of like that gung ho approach. It's working really well. Not really working as well for him as it maybe is for Anil Kapoor, but I kind of appreciate. I don't know. It looks intriguing to me. I'm not that like down on the kind of computer graphics, CGI and all that kind of thing, because it does have that Upgrade tone where it's like heightened artificiality. And this is a show, this is not a movie, right? There's like all episodes, right? So, but yeah, I do wonder about the comedic tone of it. I don't know if... And the problem also is like both of these genres are very tricky to pull off. Like sci-fi, I don't think ever in Hindi cinema has worked out really well, except like maybe Mr. India, that is more like a superhero movie than actual sci-fi. But I'm thinking of what is actual like hard sci-fi.
I mean, you're forgetting the all-time classic Love Story 2050, which is sci-fi comedy, but unintentionally.
I'm desperately trying to forget it. It's still not happening. And then comedy also is very hard to pull off. Like, there's not that many great comedies that have, come out. So it's tough to pick the two genres that are hard to pull off and then putting them together, and then making a series out of them and then having, Radhika Apte in it. Like, it's like, who thought of this? Like, it's a weird concept, yeah.
Like some bits were just super cringe in the, in the trailer, because I was like, I really want to support these people. I really like Vijay Varma, but I am a little bit worried.
Yeah. So anybody getting a Hotstar subscription for this? Because I'm probably not going to be able to watch it.
Do we want to talk about Bombay Begums on this episode?
Some women are born to rule. We call them queens. Some women secretly aspire to be queen. Some women laugh and smile their pain away, but they're survivors. And perhaps the real queens of Bombay. The question is, how far will you go to survive in this city of dreams?
I think we should. I think it's the only thing that really dropped that is recent. So I think, and although I'm the only one that watched it, right? Yamini, did you get to watch maybe an episode or something?
I only saw the trailer.
I watched one episode.
Yeah, I finished the whole season.
Bravo.
Yeah, I got it. Like, I wanted to tell you guys what I've been watching this week very quickly to give you an idea what goes on in my brain. So I watched
Mamu 2, Mamu 3.
No, it's really how I swing from one thing to the other. So I started the week off with Akira Kurosawa's Hidden Fortress. Then I went with Paul Verhoeven's Arnold classic Total Recall. Then I watched 20 minutes of Angur. Have you guys watched Angur?
Yes.
20 minutes.
I lasted 20 minutes of that movie. I wanted to hit somebody, like it was so bad. I don't think I've ever liked a movie with Dipti Naval. Is that how you pronounce it?
Naval.
Yeah, Naval. I've never liked a movie with her, I think. I need to find one that I like. I've not found it
Chashme Baddoor. You have to watch
Saath
Chashme
Saath
Baddoor.
also.
Saath?
I mean, I like those two. I like Chashme Baddoor and Saath Saath a lot.
Okay, I'm taking notes here because somebody mentioned Asim, have you not watched an old movie in a while? Can you please talk about it on the podcast? I don't know if it was Abdullah or somebody else. And I was like, yeah, maybe I'll give it a shot, So I lasted 20 minutes of Angur. It's not happening. It's not happening, that movie. Then I went with the Coens' Blood Simple. And then while all of that was happening, I was also watching Bombay Begums. So just to kind of give you how I go back and forth. And the problem I have with Bombay Begums is that I was lukewarm on this show. But because the hardcore conservatives are cancelling this show, now I feel I have to defend this show. And I do not like it. I do not like to be put into this position. And secondly, not only watch the show, you have to watch the show in 5 days because you don't know if they're going to pull it all of Netflix or you're going to pull it out of India, just out of India, or they're just going to re-edit the show. So this happened with Tandav, which I didn't really like Tandav, but I ended up watching the whole shit. And now the same thing with Bombay Begums, where I don't really like it that much, but I have to binge the whole damn thing. It's an interesting position to be in. But Sujoy, you watched one episode. Why did you give up?
So, I'm very, very happy to see Pooja Bhatt on TV. That's the only reason why I watched it, right? And she opens the show and sets the tone of the show. But the moment that scene ends, the omnipresent narration starts, right? The young teenage girl who's shy, she is like the omnipresent narrator. And I have a big problem with that kind of a format. I had the same problem in White Tiger as well, and the same here. And my biggest problem with this show is the sort of superficiality, the surface level, half-baked, no research done into the world where it's trying to explain the story, right? So the main characters played by Pooja Bhatt and Shahana Goswami are working in a bank, and it's so cringeworthy how they are showing the boardrooms and the decisions, the business decisions they are supposed to make with $30 million at stake and all of that. It kind of is like the same amount of research that went into Jab We Met when Imtiaz Ali made, Shahid Kapoor announce a new SIM with unlimited talk time just after he comes back from Bhatinda. So it's just cringeworthy, man. It's really, really cringeworthy. They're having dinner, Pooja Bhatt and Shahana, and they're well done on the $30 million deal. And just minutes ago, the $30 million was passed. It's all very, very contrived and it's terrible. It just makes me not like the show at all. I just lost all affection I had for the show when I started watching it. So I don't think I can continue watching it. I do understand that there is a lot more going on with the context of the show with other characters in the show that has caused a lot of controversy. But I do get to see your sort of sense of rebellion that I need to continue to watch the show just because it's pissing off the people that I want to be pissed off. But I don't think that's a motivation strong enough for me to continue watching this.
The controversy around this, because basically they're saying that it promotes drugs and obscenity with young women or young children, because she's playing a 13-year-old character.
Yeah.
You cannot believe how absurd the controversy is. They are really pulling at straws here, and the straws are going to get pulled, because that's the way, India is at the moment. So they're probably going to have to ban it or re-edit it and apologize. And honestly, this show has a disclaimer at the start of every episode, and that disclaimer is 70 pages. It's so long, because that's what these filmmakers have to do now, and they're still not safe.
Well, what's annoying is that the authorities or the powers that be are annoyed that the problem is being showed rather than solve the problem.
Yeah.
We are just going to acknowledge that the problem does not exist in the first place. Let's put a blind eye on everybody and say that the kids are out there doing, it's all sunshine and rainbows. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, but it's absurd. These high-class CEO banker kids are not doing coke at 13 is an insane idea. Like, obviously they are. That's like normal. Like, that is the most normal thing ever. Like, maybe your kids aren't and your kids shouldn't, but that's what these guys are doing. But totally clear to me. Like, that's like, that makes total sense to me. I mean, otherwise you would not have the career launches that we get. All of these kids are on coke and they think they can do it. Clearly, these are why we see so many TikTok videos of them dancing with no talent. They're all on coke. But Amrita, did you have any interest in watching this? Maybe the Pooja Bhatt of it all or anything like that? I know that you were a huge Pooja Bhatt fan in the 90s, no?
Yeah, I mean, I did want to watch it for Pooja, but like this is one of those shows where, like, I just have it at the back of my mind, and then if I see it at some point when I'm in the right frame of mind, then I'll watch it. I don't know if it'll be around for me to watch it, but that is still, like, I don't care enough about it for me to actually make an effort to watch it before it gets pulled off. But honestly, like what you were saying about the controversy being idiotic, like, that's the whole point though. Like, the idea is that you go after the low-lying fruit and you make it for ridiculous reasons, and then the shows like Patal Lok, for example, that are talking about like really gritty things, they will automatically be rejected at the idea stage, because people will know that if you are facing this kind of response to a Bombay Begums, then a series like Patal Lok is a obvious no-brainer. So people will just automatically start, if they don't make the content, then what will people object to? So that's what's going to happen, like somebody was saying, like, apparently the chief minister of Haryana was talking about like how they're going to try and turn Gurgaon into a film city, and somebody in the film industry said, yeah, like, keep building film cities and don't let anyone make films. Like, that's a perfect model now.
There's already a Noida-based film city, right, where Love Ranjan makes all his movies in the factory.
Yeah.
Yamini, is there like a bit of fear in the industry for these kind of things? Have you felt that or anything like that?
So, see, this all just, I mean, at least with OTTs, it started after the whole censorship thing came up. And I remember I was reading a thread actually today morning only on Twitter. I forgot what posted it, but someone had said, like, see, these sites like Netflix and Amazon, these obviously have like the bigger budget series and all, and these are the ones that at least historically have like taken up all these, historically in a sense, like over the last few years, of course, but like have taken up these, cause like, Netflix had Leila and like, Amazon had like Patal Lok and all of these. But they were like, while all of this is happening, there are like platforms like MX Player and Alt Balaji, which are basically like putting out soft porn. And that is obviously not going to go into this whole censorship fiasco, because you think that, the urban crowd is not the crowd that watches it, but you forget that now we have free internet. Basically, we have like super cheap internet, and everybody has a phone, and in all these like tier 2, tier 3 cities, this is what people are watching, right? This is why like these shows are still continuously getting made on MX Player, and MX Player is making like a bomb. They're making so much money, and it's also terrifying because at this point when all of this is happening, people are scared to experiment even with like comedy, because they're afraid that, hey, if you tread on like the lines of satire, even if there's like a tiny joke about the government, like things like people are going to come after us, like, and let's like focus on money at this point. Let's not like think too much about, all of this. But what it's doing is now that all of these like new storytellers who are like, hey, OTT is like finally where, our stories are going to shine, everyone is terrified. Like, there is just so much. It's not even fear at this point. It's just like the stories that you thought you wanted to tell, like all these, it's like your creativity is being curbed even for like small things, because you feel like, hey, if I don't like talk about, in praise of the government, or like I have to do something if I want like my shows to get some kind of like recognition, which is terrible. Like, it's just painful. But
Yeah.
we're also at this
just
point.
just to bring back the conversation to MX Player. By the way, MX Player, majority of it is owned by Times Internet from the Times of India group, and then there is like Tencent, which is a Chinese conglomerate company which makes like all sorts of digital games and stuff. They also have a major stake in it. So I'm not sure what the future holds for MX Player at the moment.
Interesting. I think also because these guys get more flack because they are international. They have an international reach, right? So I know that a lot of things with Desi is more about the image that's been projected about their country more than anything else. So if you are a local player churning out these kind of like, soft porn or a bit more titillating content, it doesn't matter because it stays in the country. But, if Bombay Begums becomes, what was that hit show that they did about the arranged marriages or something like that? Remember that one?
Indian matchmaking.
Yeah, that's the one. If Bombay Begum becomes that's where the fate lies, maybe, right? And yeah, it's just worrying. It's really worrying. But coming back to the show, because we didn't talk about it. I didn't talk about it that much. I wanted to watch it because I'm interested in Alankrita Srivastav and her work. And also, this week there's been a lot of, like not all men are bad kind of discussions happening. And I wanted to kind of, listen and try to figure out, like this story is definitely in that line. It definitely speaks about, patriarchy and, the kind of pressure women are in, and also how women perpetuate violence in the name of patriarchy and the systems that have set up. But the thing is, man, like, it's just basically watching assholes for like 6 episodes, man. Like, everybody's an asshole. Like, you wanna like spend so much hours with everybody being like toxic towards one and each other, and all the men are horrible, all the women are horrible things are happening to them. There's way too much sex and weird sex, and I mean, I'm fine like if you're into that thing, but like, we were talking about like, you don't want to see uncles kissing, right, Amrita? I don't want to see anybody kissing anymore. Like, nobody can do it on screen. It doesn't look nice. Like, there's weird shit happening. Like, this one guy is like jacking off with a dupatta on his face of his dead wife, and it's supposed to be like this emotional scene, and it just looks ridiculous. Yeah, it's really it doesn't do anything to me. And like, putting those things, it's not shocking to me. It just seems stupid to me. Like, I don't want to, it does nothing to me. And there's a lot of this thing happening, although it does have a lot of good things too. It has amazing production values, like the dresses and the wardrobe, like how Pooja Bhatt is dressed, the sari she's wearing and all that. She looks amazing. They put a lot of effort in it, like they did with Made in Heaven. Like, it seems it definitely has less of a budget than Made in Heaven does, but they use it very, very smartly. The title are amazing. All of the performances are good. But it's just like, what you were mentioning about the voiceover, right? And I think we even mentioned this when we were talking about Made in Heaven, that the voiceover was so bad and obvious. And here in Bombay Begums, you have a very obvious voiceover by the 13-year-old girl, and then you have very obvious jazz songs. Do you guys like jazz? Like, does anybody like jazz? I hate jazz. I don't like jazz at all. You do like jazz? Okay. Yes. But this kind of jazz, like everything that is happening in the show is sung in a jazz song. Like, you are alone, no man can love you, reach out your hand to a woman, maybe we can make love, that kind of thing. Oh, so there's gonna be
it's very like on the nose. It's just like "Tu Pyar Hai Kisi Aur Ka," party mein gaana chal raha hai and it's only meant for you,
Dude, it's not even on the nose. It's the level of Aamir Khan's hip thrusting in Man Confirm. That's the level Har Fun Wala. That's how obvious it is.
But also what you mentioned, right, that there is no balancing act here. All the men are terrible, and it's not like the more you do that, it doesn't work like that. The flip side, you have a movie like Thappar where you have the balance. You acknowledge the existence of patriarchy even with men who are supposedly good. that's when you sort of expose what is in place rather than everybody being terrible.
I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I'm okay with men being terrible. At least somebody has to be not terrible. like anybody. Give me a child, give me a rickshawala, give me, like somebody selling Parle-G biscuit. Somebody who's not terrible. And there's nobody in this show. Like, everybody's terrible. And basically, you're stuck watching 6 episodes surrounded by assholes. It's like that scene in Spaceballs. Oh, never mind. If people have watched Spaceballs, they know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to explain the joke. But yeah, it's... I don't know. I don't know if I can recommend this show. It's like, I think if you are... I don't know. I feel also not like bad about not recommending. Maybe it's just not for me. Maybe if you are very much like, in tune with these kind of themes... and you have a lot of anger, you should maybe watch the show, I don't have it at the moment. I just want to be chill.
Wouldn't that be triggering for people who, I don't know?
I think it's triggering. I definitely think it's very triggering and it's very traumatic, and I think it uses a sledgehammer over that trauma for people. I don't know. I mean, obviously a lot of the things that they're talking about, it's never happened to me and it's never going to happen to me. But I wonder if it has happened to you, if this show is helpful. I don't know. I would, if somebody has, thoughts, let me know. I don't know. I can't be the judge of that. That's why I'm saying that maybe the show is just not for me, Yeah.
Can I tell you my thought?
Mm-hmm.
When you were talking about the guy with his wife's dupatta over his face who's wanking off, all I could think of was like Rahul in Kuch Kuch Hota Hai.
Wow.
Yo.
You've ruined our 90s now.
Oh God. Which actually is a good segue to our next episode then, right? I think we could wrap this up. Anything else we have? No, we've been going on quite long. Yeah. Yamini, where can people find you online?
So I am at Papucharu on Twitter, and yeah, that's it.
That's it. We can't say any more.
Yeah.
Follow Papucharu. Amrita, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at AmritaIQ or on my YouTube channel where I talk about books at Amrita by the Book. And I also have a episode out on the Fuckboys of Literature podcast where I am discussing The Guide by R.K. Narayanan.
Wow. Sujoy, what about you?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at 9E3K. You can also follow Khandaan Podcast at Khandaan Podcast on Instagram. And remember, we have the episode 100 of Khandaan dropping. We are doing a YouTube live with Asim, me, and Amrita, and guests joining on YouTube and answering your questions. Come hang out with us. Details will be in the show notes, and we'll be posting it on our socials as well. It's streaming on March 28th, which is a Sunday.
Great. And I'm at Asim Bernie. You can drop us an email. If you have any questions for the YouTube Live and you don't want to show up but you want to read it out, have us read it out, drop us one at youpodcasting@gmail.com or leave us a review on Apple Podcast. We love hearing from you. And we'll be back with another episode where we'll be discussing Chennai Express. Thanks for listening.
The I didn't realize you liked me that way deal. Because it's one thing to receive McDonald's, but an entirely other thing to know that they woke up early to face the world and bring you McDonald's breakfast still hot in the bag.
Appreciate you.
There's a deal for every morning. Now grab 2 loaded sausage burritos for only $3. Prices and participation may vary. Single item at regular price. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.